Hello and welcome to the TrainerWise Daily Show. On today's episode, Ultra Endurance Training.
Show me a good time. Oh yeah. Show me a good time. Oh yeah.
Hey, this is a call out to all strength coaches and trainers out there. If you would like to share your views on a given topic, just go to trainerwise.com. Fill out the contact form. Tell us the topic that's of interest to you, and we'll get you on as soon as possible. We're filling up shows at the moment, currently taking guest speakers. So please do take the time now to contact us there, and we'll get you on. We have Tom Seabourne, PhD exercise science, tons of articles, tons of books. The man in every sense of endurance training, as you would have it. Tom, welcome.
Oh, hi. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm good, man. I wanted to say thanks for coming on. You're a guy who has such an extensive background. When it comes to ultra endurance training, I thought of getting somebody on who's been around the block, let's just say. And I wanted to shoot right from the hip and start asking the questions so that people can get the information that's useful to on this topic. The first question is, how do you know if you're ready for an ultra endurance event? I think some people run marathons. Some people do it once a year. Some people more often than that, or they may do some kind of sprint triathlons. They may try their hand at the small distance or even, let's say, normal distance endurance events. But in the neighborhood of something like an Ironman, if somebody wanted to do that, or somebody wanted to do like a 100-mile run, what qualifies somebody for being ready for such a monumental event like that?
Yeah, a good idea is for them to follow a program. Runner's World has some great programs. A fellow named Galloway has put them out where it's to start slowly, progress gradually, put you on some type of a progress demonstrating program so that you'll see over time that you'll reach certain levels, and as you reach these levels, then you'll be psychologically and physically ready for the next level. My particular area is cycling, and it's a little bit different in cycling in that we don't have to worry so much about the orthopedic type of injuries because it's more heart rate related.
Right.
So in that sense, though, it's still the same progression, and I see some people trying to do too much too soon, and then they end up blowing up. So you're right that they have to follow that program to the letter, and then they'll have the confidence to pursue that particular endeavor.
So the Galloway guy you're talking about, is he more of a running guy, or is he more of a cyclist program rider as well?
The Galloway is a running guy.
Okay.
In fact, yeah, I always send my students to him because he does both half marathons and full marathons, and really pretty much takes people through every step of the way. I think the biggest problem I've seen is that some people will try to adhere to these programs a little too strictly, and they feel like, well, I'm not going to be able to get my run in this week, so I'm going to just forget about the whole thing.
Right.
When in fact, you just individualize it to your own specific progress, and that I think is something that everybody should do. There's going to be bumps in the road along the way.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, I imagine your body may be one of those bumps.
Yeah, exactly. And it is funny because some people overtrain and they love training so much that they don't take the rest days when they should.
Yeah.
And then the orthopedic injuries do crop up. So you're right. It's really important to be able to recover after those really hard endurance interval days.
Gotcha. So Tom, what would you say is a very common injury for cyclists who are in endurance or long endurance events? Is there one that's very common to the cycling world?
Yeah, it's called Schirmer neck, and it sounds crazy, but what happens is from being on the aero bar, yeah, exactly, for a long period of time, the muscles in the neck just give out. Michael Schirmer, who's actually become famous for other reasons now, he's been on Oprah. He also was one of the first Race Across America participants.
Oh, gotcha.
He developed it at first, the weight of the helmet and holding your head in that position. So, that's one injury. Knee injuries are common. Low back injuries are common as well. And So yeah, I mean, we and ultra endurance athletes are always working around some sort of injury.
So do you guys wear glasses that kind of like show the road ahead of you type of thing, like little mirrors or anything like that?
Oh, that's so funny that you said that because there are some companies that have developed those mirrors that you attach to the handlebars so that you can keep your neck in that position without having to worry about the stabilizers falling asleep on you. So,
Yeah.
so you're right. They do have those. I've never tried one. I actually have one in my drawer somewhere, but I've never tried it.
So let me ask you, what's the I'm kind of going off topic, but what's the longest event that you've competed in, or maybe you've trained somebody to compete in? What's the longest
The
cycle?
race, I've done the bicycle race across America. It's 3,000 miles, and I love it. I love that event. I
How
did
many
it in
days is
19.
that? How many days does that take to complete?
It took me 10 days, 3 hours, and 32 minutes.
Now tell me, is that fast? Is it medium, or is it really slow?
That was that was 10th place. 10th place.
Out of how many?
There was only 30 cyclists. They only usually allow about 30 because in order to get into the race, that's the difficult part. You have to qualify.
Hmm.
But I'd say the race that I can remember as being the most arduous race was actually, it was called the Iron Butt, and it's a 24-hour race in Oklahoma City where it's no drafting allowed.
Ah.
And I had one of those amazing peak experiences where I rode 24 hours without stopping. I had no problems, no flat tires, nothing, and rode 458 miles. And that record still stands. But Daniel, the reason it was a peak experience, I was listening to my favorite music the whole time.
Ah.
There wasn't a moment where I wasn't focused. But I paid the price for 3 days. I was sick as a dog.
Oh man, hold on. So Tom, if somebody's been into the sport for a while, when could they expect to peak? Is it like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds? At what age is the average person involved in an ultra endurance event, like an Ironman or a 100-mile run, 100-mile cycling, start to peak in their career?
Yeah, the older the better. I mean, up to a certain age. A lot of old fogies like me enjoy this. We're out there. We don't mind the long training. We're kind of adapted to going at a slower pace for longer periods of time. We're not like the young kids that need to just sprint and be over with. We don't mind putting in the time. So with that in mind, what I've recently developed is a book called The Complete Idiot's Guide to Quick Total Body Workouts.
Yeah.
Where a person can train for very short periods, but high levels, so that they're training for maybe 15 minutes, but they're doing what's called interval training, so that it's almost like going up a hill and down a hill like this. And then eventually they're training where it's up a mountain and then down the hill and then recover and then up the mountain again.
Right.
So they're increasing both their anaerobic and aerobic power. They're increasing that type 2B fiber, the power fibers.
Right.
The type 2A intermediate fibers are actually changing over to whatever type of training they're doing. So they're becoming more fit. And as they're becoming more fit cardiovascularly and developing the right fiber types, then their performance is going to be enhanced, whether it's for ultra endurance or for basketball on a playground.
So gotcha. So in the book, there's like you're saying there's like a program where you can start for 15 minutes and then it progresses to longer intervals. Like let's say if I'm in week 1, but then I get to like week 12. By the time I get to week 12, will my intervals be longer on my short days? Will they be longer than a 15-minute period?
Great point. What we try to do is get people to start slowly, progress gradually, so that maybe they're not going to spend more time in the interval, but their intensity will increase.
Gotcha.
And the workouts are at home, in the office, or in the gym, so that wherever people are, they can find a way to work out. Like right now, Daniel, I'm sitting on a ball, and
Are you?
I have a bike right over here. There's my bike.
Gotcha.
And then there's that traveling trophy I was talking about with the
Iron Booty. Yeah.
So there's a book so far, but Daniel, what I think with only 15% of Americans working out, and it's the same 15 that are riding the bike and lifting weights and running.
I know.
we've got to find a way to get people involved in activity and keep them involved.
Yeah.
And, you know, the ultra distance, people don't start riding 3,000 miles. They'll start with maybe a 100-mile century, and then they'll try a 200, and then maybe the Spenko 500, which is a 500-mile ride. And then, sure enough, they're hooked on that endorphin high. And that's where I think as long as we can keep our clients injury-free,
Yeah.
and you know, and keep them tapping into those endorphins and that the good feeling that they're having while they're training, then they will be hooked on these ultra distance type events.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think there's definitely an addictive element. One, not just physical, but like mental, where the point where the notion of accomplishment. I remember I was talking smack to one of my clients about her doing a century ride, and I had never ridden more than, I don't know, 6 miles at this point. And I was just thinking, yeah, that's not a workout. And then 3 days later, there I am on the bike. Like, she's like, oh yeah, come on, keep up. And I was riding, and I got a flat, and then they all left me, and they were drafting, and there I was with my iPod. And I probably told the story before, but the point is after I did it, it was funny. I wasn't sore. I actually felt really weak the next couple of days. My body definitely was not conditioned. I did no training, but it was fun. And like in my head, I'm like, I did a century ride. I wonder what I could do. Like if I did train, how far could I go? And it's kind of addicting. It does feel good to know that I've accomplished such a task. But
no, you're right. You're right. In fact, recently I was on a TLC show where I was portrayed as being addicted to cycling, but I just love it. And it's a passion for me. And I recently set a Guinness World Record where I rode 185 hours straight on a stationary bike, and which translated into almost 4,000 miles. And then the way they portrayed this on the show was that they've calculated that I've ridden over 1 million miles so far. And I never thought about that, you know, since I'm riding sometimes indoors, sometimes outdoors, and I ride several hours a day, I find a way to get it into my schedule.
Yeah.
That I am addicted, but I'm addicted in a good way. I don't let my job fall apart. My family is still very important to me, and so you're right, though, Daniel, that a lot of ultra and distance people that are involved, whether it's running or it doesn't matter which one, it can be an addiction, and so folks have to watch out that they don't run through injuries, that they're not neglecting their jobs or their families.
So let me ask. So you said earlier before you said you did a 450 some ride outdoor, like nonstop, over 24 hours, and so this is 185 hours. How many days is that offhand?
Yeah, that was a little more than 7 days. Yeah, you know what, Daniel? It was funny because my whole purpose for doing that was to raise awareness for the Race Across America, which was going to come up in 6 months. But it took the Guinness people about 3 months after I did the event to evaluate it, because we had to record every second of it and then send all that to England. And so they didn't even get my results back before the Race Across America. So the timing was really bad. But the good news was that we developed an awareness in my community about trying to get people to start working out again, because like we discussed, it's amazing right now how few people are active. And if we can get people riding, walking, whatever, and get them to the point where, like you said, where, oh my gosh, I just did 100 miles on a bike, or I just walked around the block. I mean, it's a question of mastery. Once people feel confident and they feel like they've mastered something, they'll continue with that activity.
Man, that's really cool. If people want to get your book, where's the place that they could pick it up?
Yeah, the book's called The Complete Idiot's Guide to Quick Total Body Workouts. And the best place is Amazon. It's very inexpensive. I think it's $10 right now as a pre-order.
Gotcha.
And then, gosh, they can find me on Facebook, just Tom Seabourne, Seabourne. That's how we met, and I'm glad we met. And then I have a website, www.tomseabourne.com, if they need any additional information. But no, I really enjoyed talking with you. And,
thank you for having us. I think the wealth of information, all those stories you have about those gnarly rides. It's really representative of what this talk was about, and that's that you can do it. And I think that that's what you're telling other people with your book, is that, you know, novices have a starting point. And for these almost euphoric like experiences that you spoke of being like how you were saying you were sick after your ride, but you felt so like, you know, you were in this place, you're in this zone. I don't know that, you know, the normal hour workout gets you to those places.
Daniel, you are so right. In fact, you ask any ultra endurance athlete, there are moments during the event where you think you'll never finish and that you're in the worst state of mind. You feel like you wish you were dead. And then a second later, you're in ecstasy. You have that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm here. So, and that's part of the excitement. And as you discussed earlier about the hallucinations, even that became part of the event.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about pushing the envelope and yet knowing that, gosh, you know, as a human being, we're limited, but not by much. And we can push our limits a lot more than we think.
Let's end it there. Tom, thank you so much for being on. And everybody, thank you for watching.
Thanks, Daniel.
Show me a good time. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Show me a good. Show me a good. Show me a good time.